American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
So now I'm obsessed with time. Come on, tell me about the time. Had it all in my hand tonight. Had the time of my life. When the words all come down like blues on Tuesdays come down. Throw it all away. Throw it all away.
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of American Timelines. I'm Amy and that's Joe.
And we are History for Jerks, and we are continuing on through 1952.
Yes.
And this is episode 158, I think.
That sounds right.
It's a
We'll
lot
go
of
with
episodes.
it. We'll go with it.
We've been doing this a while. And we have guests. We're
Yes.
excited. We brought some guests back this week. We're really excited to have some folks from an awesome YouTube channel called Southern Snackers.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go ahead and just bring them on right now to join us. So please welcome Brandon and Bucky, the Southern Snackers. Welcome, guys.
Hey, y'all.
Hello.
Hey, y'all. That's what you guys always say, isn't it? Hey, y'all.
That's our intro.
That's how you
Lord,
start
how
it.
many episodes?
we
That
should,
is crazy.
that'd be funny. We should do our intro.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes, do it.
Yeah, do it.
2, 3, 4. Hey, y'all.
It's the Southern Snackers.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Bucky.
Oh, I love it.
I love it. It's like in harmony. You guys, your voices are so good. I'm so jealous
so
of people that can
professional
sing.
sounding.
It is. It really is. And
Yeah.
every episode kind of starts like that. And it's, hey, of course,
Yeah.
there's other Southern Snackers too, right? It's not just you guys.
So Bucky and I are a couple. We've been together for a long time, but our friend, so we started the channel in June of 2018.
18? Yeah.
We all love YouTube, but
Mhm.
our friend Emily really loves mukbangs.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
if you don't know what
Mukbang.
that is,
Yes, a lot of people don't.
a
I
lot
keep
of people
telling
don't know what that is.
a mukbang.
Basically, you just watch people eat.
Oh, it's
Yes.
it's mukbang, not mukbang. I
Well,
thought it
it's
was mukbang.
It's
muk-
mukbang.
I think it's
I don't
supposed to
know.
be mukbang, but people say it mukbang. Like
Yeah.
they say it any sort of
Who
way.
knows?
But
Okay.
yeah,
You know what mukbang is?
I had
Mukbang?
no idea before
Yeah.
I watched.
So
you
tell
guys.
us what
Yeah.
it is, because a lot of people don't get it.
So it literally just means that you watch people eat on camera. So like some people will literally just sit there and eat.
Yeah.
Other
Yeah.
people will talk too. So like we talk. Like, but there are a
Mhm.
lot of really, really, really big mukbang channels on YouTube that literally just sit there and eat and they never really talk.
They never
Um,
say anything.
No, and it's
So
kind of
is
like
it ASMR? Is that what it is?
kind
It's
of, yeah.
that people like to hear the mouth sounds or the
Yeah.
chewing?
And-
sometimes, yeah. And it just basically means eating show. Like a lot of people, if they're having lunch by themselves, they'll bring up, a YouTube channel to just kind of feel like they're with someone as they're
Oh, I
having lunch
can
or
see
dinner.
that.
That's
Yeah.
that's what I feel
Yeah.
like you guys do. I feel like I'm
Exactly.
just eating with you,
Mhm.
like we're having
Right.
lunch.
And it's
Yeah.
also like there are certain foods that are really popular for people to eat. Like people love to watch people eat like crab legs.
Oh,
Um,
really?
Yeah, like there's
Like
there's
messy
this-
stuff.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's
Huh.
a really popular YouTuber named B Loves Life. She's like where is she from? I forget where she's from.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but she like basically seafood boils.
Yes.
She kind of
Okay.
made that so popular on YouTube. And all that being said, that is not what Southern Snackers. That's not what we do. That's kind of scaring people off.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, sorry.
we've kind of taking like eating show to like a different level. Like it's not so much about the food as it is about the conversation.
Yeah.
To where typical traditional mukbangs, now I don't even know how to say it, is focused
Yeah.
more so on the food.
Yeah. And like
Okay.
we do a lot of like challenges too.
Mhm.
We've
Mhm.
done a lot of challenges on our channel. We do like some fun little games with each other.
Vlogs.
Vlogs. I mean, we do a little bit of it all.
Don't you guys do the Tide Pod challenge? I've heard that's not a good
yeah,
one.
don't eat Tide
We-
Pods.
So
We didn't upload that video. We tried it, didn't go well.
Yeah.
Didn't make it. I'm just kidding.
no, so Bucky did do one on our channel that was for full disclaimer. I said this is the stupidest thing you've ever done. Do not do this.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
But he did the gallon of pickles
Oh,
challenge. Yeah,
What did you
I
have
haven't
to
heard
do-
of this. You
it
eat,
is literally eating a whole big glass jar gallon of pickles.
Oh no.
And
Not only that, but then drinking the juice.
yeah.
afterwards.
Oh no!
there's literally like enough sodium in that to like
Yeah.
literally kill you.
Can
And I was
Yeah.
can you pick sweet or dill, or does it have to be dill, or
Well,
what?
for me, it has to be dill. I don't know, like sweet pickles. I hate sweet pickles. Dill is.
Oh
where
my
it's at.
god!
But
So
it was
did
a bad
you-
idea.
Did you, to prepare for that, did you just like not eat all day so your stomach was empty, or did you?
Honestly, yes, and that's
Yeah.
kind of like when we started. You know, we were trying to become, you know, what we thought a mukbang channel was supposed to be,
Yeah.
and you know, trying to keep up with all these other big channels and do, you know,
we were doing
mock-
things that were trendy.
Yeah,
Right.
and
Because that's what gets.
Like we did
Hits, yeah.
the chicken leg challenge. Now that one was fun.
Now what's that?
We 20 chicken legs.
Oh my god!
18 chicken legs.
I think it was 20
Each?
chicken legs in
as quick as you can.
yeah.
Wait,
And
each?
so
Yeah, we both filmed individual videos doing that.
Oh
So
my
think about like
gosh.
driving up to Bojangles and being like, I need
Yeah.
40 chicken legs, just 40 chicken legs,
Yeah.
nothing
oh my
else.
goodness!
But do you? So it reminds me of like Kobayashi in that, like eating the hot dogs. Like, isn't
Yeah.
that like an art? Like you have to train your body to do that, don't you? You can't just do that one day, right?
You should, because like the bathroom after the fact doing a video like
Oh
that
my
is
gosh.
not fun. Like
No.
the one that messed me up the worst was we did, what was the Burger King one?
Oh, I forget.
The
It was
4
so
pound-
many
4 pound
patties.
burger?
Yeah. It was
Oh
my
my
goodness.
god!
Yeah.
You probably didn't shit
Did
for
you-
a month.
Yeah.
It was like you got four, I think you got 4 double Whoppers and put all the beef patties on one burger and ate it.
Oh my
Ah,
lord!
I couldn't do. I physically, I don't think
No.
I could.
No.
It was
Yeah,
insane.
it was
And-
rough.
And so we kept trying to like, you know, outdo everybody because the only way to get the views was if you
Yeah.
like beat other channels.
But
Right.
Bucky
So
was
with
good
the,
at it.
The
Bucky,
chicken leg, yeah. And I also gained so much weight
Yeah.
from just that.
Yeah.
So
Just
we've
from
kinda
doing that, yeah.
taken a step back.
but
and
for a
like,
while, Bucky was like the reigning chicken leg challenge.
mhm.
Like
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Don't come for me. I'll beat you in
Yeah.
a chicken leg.
Wow. Those fighting words.
So,
Yeah.
like, is it like the same? You know how like Kobayashi has to dip everything in water, like to get it down. Is it that kind of stuff where you're like making strategic choices how you're eating the chicken to get it all down?
Sometimes you gotta dip. You gotta dip stuff like
Yeah.
the chicken nugget challenge.
Oh, you have to dip that.
that was like 100 chicken nuggets each.
yeah.
Oh my
So we did
god!
200
100
chicken
McDonald's
nuggets.
nuggets.
Yeah,
You can have
We
a
did
heart
not eat all
attack.
100.
it didn't go.
We didn't eat them all.
We made it to like
Ah.
75 or something each.
I think
or
we
something.
ate.
Do
no,
you
I think we
throw
ate like
up
50
ever?
Each.
Does it make you throw up
Oh,
ever?
The pickle.
Oh, they
one, I
both.
was
They were
just-
both like, oh,
of
yes.
course. We throw up all the time.
Oh
honey.
my
He's like,
lord.
he was very sick after the pickle challenge, and that's when I was like, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so.
Oh my god.
What was was that the last straw? The pickle challenge? Was that it? Like we're not doing this anymore?
Yeah, I think it was just like reevaluating, like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Because like I don't want other people to do it. Like it's
Yeah,
just so
yeah.
Well, you know,
unhealthy.
but it is nice when the little YouTube check comes in.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
like in the height of our, I mean, you know,
We were doing
Well, and
in
you
the
get
height
like
of our,
yeah, you start making money, and then you start
Yeah.
thinking this could be really big. You know?
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
keep
Right.
outdoing yourself, and then
and
yeah.
now that we've kind of built a channel and we have a lot of content and we get like views regularly, like it's nice to have like a little check that still comes in every month.
Yeah,
that's
really.
nice.
You know, regardless
Mhm.
if it's a lot or not, because now that we've kind of like, it's interesting because we kind of put ourselves in that corner a little bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then once we kind of shifted and started doing more like vlog content or just
Yeah.
like more things like what we wanted to do,
Mhm.
Yeah.
we lost a lot of viewership
Yeah.
Really?
because
Oh.
so many people came to our channel
Just
for the
that.
challenges, for like the eating. And there are a lot of channels who continue down that path and like stay really popular. And like
Mhm.
there's one who's really controversial. His name's Nikocado Avocado.
Yeah.
But he just like gorges basically and like, you know,
Oh.
stays
Like-
super. But anyway,
There's a cost to that, though. I mean, the
Oh,
damage
yeah.
you're doing to your body.
for sure.
Well, and then you get to the kind of like, well, there's people, all these people that don't have enough to eat, and then you've got like an
Mhm.
eating.
I'm eating 100 of
contest.
these.
Yeah.
You can't have one.
It's interesting though because like, you know, throughout our channel, we had several people with disabilities reach out to us
Really?
to say that they were people who had feeding tubes
Mhm.
Yeah.
or couldn't eat, and
Yeah.
they would watch our channel and other channels like us to kind of
Oh.
remember. If I remember one lady specifically who could eat at
Yeah.
one point, something happened to her, she got sick or something, and she couldn't. And she
Yeah.
would watch our channel and she would message us and be like, "Oh my god, like I can remember what that tastes like as you're
Yeah.
eating it, and so I'll watch you eating it to kind of
It like
Oh.
satisfies.
Oh,
them.
that's
Kind of
really
helps them.
cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so we got a lot of that. Like, I mean, we're generally like really, I mean, like our YouTube channel is like fun and fluffy and likable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So like we got a lot of that. You know, we got. A lot
Yeah.
of
It's like a
people who-
morning show. I feel like I always feel like I'm watching like a morning show, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
I think
but
that's a
with,
good way to put it.
but
it's-
enjoyable one. Like
yeah,
a
it's like
Regis
us
and Kit-
bickering
yeah.
back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
And so, our friend is moving soon, so the channel's gonna kind of, change, I guess.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so Bucky and I are actually creating a new channel,
Oh.
called called Southern Daddies,
Hold on, you're breaking
and
up.
we are actually going to. Are we there?
Oh, wait a second. We lost you for a second. We lost right as you were about to tell us what the channel name was. We lost you. So go ahead and start again. Tell us again what
okay.
Okay, so we're back.
the
So we're starting a new channel, and the channel name is Southern Daddies.
Oh.
And we are going to we just got married recently, but we've been together
Yeah.
forever.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to document our journey to fatherhood, basically, because like there's not
Southern Daddies, not like
Yeah,
a
not like
sexual-
Southern
sexual
well,
Daddies.
it's
kind
a
of
double
a play
meaning.
on
It's
words.
a kind of-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had to stick with our Southern. We got
Oh,
Southern
yeah.
Chatter,
Yeah.
our podcast, Southern
Of
Yeah.
course,
Snackers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta have Southern Daddies.
Everything's Southern with us.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're starting a new YouTube
That
channel
is
called Southern
so
Daddies.
cool.
And-
You're going to help so many people.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
that's what, as we were kind of researching how to go about this process and stuff, because we want to have biological children. So like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's a really, really intense, expensive process.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, how does
Um,
that even work?
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's not a lot of information out there for people. And so
Yeah.
Mhm.
we're going to hopefully use our channel to just kind of document our experience and
Oh
like,
my
Yeah.
gosh, that's
kind
so
of
cool.
tell people like what happens along the way and that kind of thing, because we sought that out, because
Mm-hmm.
like YouTube
Mhm.
for us has become that thing where if you need to learn anything, just YouTube it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Us
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, us too. Yeah.
but this is it just wasn't really there. Like there are a few channels who kind of talk about it every now and then, but there are a lot of like gay men who are couples who have kids who kind of talk about it a little bit.
Might be
Yeah.
like one video or like
Yeah.
2 videos, but it's
Yeah.
we want to document from the start to the beginning, from literally, you
Yeah.
know, what do you do? Like when you have this
Yeah.
idea, where do you begin?
What's the process? What's the science behind it? Like,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
the cost? Because that's a huge thing for us going through this. Like, the cost of something like this, it's virtually impossible to nail down. Like,
Oh my
nobody can give you
Wow.
Well,
an
and
estimate. You're looking
yeah.
like
Oh,
it's crazy.
I have so many questions already. Like I would be
You don't
interested
need
to know.
You don't need to get into
No,
the graphic.
no, I'm not. No, I mean,
questions.
no,
You
I
just-
mean,
I know that's where you're going.
no. I was actually thinking like I would be interested to know: is it harder in one state versus another to get
Yes.
funding,
yeah.
or to get approved, or
Yes.
to get whatever you
bet.
need? Like whatever, there's
There are-
legislation in every state about different
Yeah.
things.
There
and-
are states that,
It's illegal.
there are states where surrogacy or like a GC, a gestational
It's
carrier,
not recognized.
it's illegal.
well, right, and just
So-
like the term you just used, like gestational carrier. Like I've
Mhm.
Yeah.
so
just-
much to learn for people,
There
and I
is.
think you're right. Like nobody knows
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
about this. But you
Yeah.
think how many years back, like when YouTube first started, like nobody would even think that anybody would be talking about this in a mainstream situation because it was it's so hush hush to even say you're gay or that
Mhm.
you're different,
Yeah.
you know. So we've come a long way there. So this could really open up doors for a lot of people. I'm really
Well, it's
excited.
kind of
about
funny
that.
because so many of the like, when you think about kind of the pioneering YouTubers, like
Mhm.
a lot of them are like gay men. I feel like, which is
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
Like
My
with
daughter,
Sharon
all the
Austin.
ones, all the people she follows are gay men. I think.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
Totally
it's,
does,
It's
yeah.
a very gay platform.
Yes.
I would say, or like gay
Wow.
friendly.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
it's true.
It is.
And it's
Which
just
makes it
interesting that, like-
awesome.
Well, it's like
yeah,
the crux of it makes sense because YouTube was just a thing like you won't let us be on your show, we're going to do it ourselves. So
yeah,
if you think about it, like I was just thinking as I was saying, you guys are like a morning show. I was trying to think in my head, I was trying to think of another morning show that has 2 gay guys on it, and I can't think of any. Like, is there any? Like, but
mean, I
why
don't know.
not?
No.
Gay guys are the
Right.
most. But I feel like maybe that's what they've done. Like gay
Like,
men have been like,
could you imagine The View, but all gay men?
oh, I
Oh
would
my
my God.
God.
Well, the only all gay men show is the Queer Eye show,
Queer Eye,
probably,
yeah.
right? I mean, maybe there's some
And that's very
other
popular.
ones on cable, and that is popular. But why
Yeah, but
haven't
it's
we?
so like, yeah, it is, but it's also like,
Some stereotypical stuff.
yeah,
I
and
mean,
also
but-
they make that
Yeah.
so like fluffy and like I feel like the Queer Eye thing, like it's so emotional a lot of the times.
Yeah,
like they make it heavy.
It's fake,
Yeah.
fake emotional, probably.
Kind of
right?
like it's like the whole reality show thing where somebody goes on a reality show, they have like a whole backstory that's like so emotional.
Yeah.
That's kind of how that show is.
I want like a late night show like Johnny Carson,
That
Ed
would be
McMahon with two
everything.
gay guys. Like that would be
Well, like
fabulous.
like friends like Chelsea Lately. Like,
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know if you
yeah.
ever watched that, but like on Chelsea Handler's old late night show, she had gay people on there all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like Ross Matthews and like Fortune
Yeah.
Feimster was on there.
Fortune Feimster was on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you don't really see that a lot. And like,
which is
Mhm.
another local.
oh yeah,
Fortune Feimster from
Yeah,
Belmont.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. We got to get back. We
We
got to
gotta
get.
get
sorry.
into the
Yeah, we
No,
gotta
this is
dive
great
in.
though. So tell us where we can. So Southern Snackers on YouTube, and the new one is Southern Daddies. But when is that going to drop, or is it already out?
So the channel is out. You can go subscribe to it. We have not
Okay.
even posted our first video yet. though.
Okay.
Yeah. But just search
Um,
Southern Daddies. You can find us. Our pictures.
love it.
Yeah,
there,
search
and-
Southern Daddies on YouTube though. Like, don't
Yeah.
just go to Google because
Yeah.
God knows what you'll find.
Don't go to YouPorn and do Southern
No.
Daddies. That's
Yeah.
going to be a whole different thing. Unless you guys are on there too. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
who knows?
We might be. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to jump into the timeline. So thank you guys for being here. This is really exciting. I'm really excited about what you guys are doing. I didn't know this ahead of time. So that was like a
Yeah.
bombshell they dropped. So
Yeah.
that is really cool. That's really exciting. I'm surprised.
All right, we're going to stop talking about your feelings now.
I'm
and get
just
into the
really
timeline.
happy. But now we got to get to 1952. We left off in November of 1952.
The very beginning, we
Well,
touched
we started getting in November because Amy really wanted to know about the first frozen peas
Right.
that were sold by Birdseye, and then we got into that, and she got all mad, so we had to end the episode. But now we're going to continue on in November. And we're going to start with November 4th, and I have kind of a big deal that happened on November 4th, and generally this stuff is boring for anyone other than me because I'm kind of a presidential history buff, so I'm trying to just hit the bullet points on this. But we got a new president
Yeah.
on November 4th, 1952.
Hmm.
There was an election, and Republican candidate Dwight D. Eisenhower was elected president of the United States, defeating Democrat candidate Adlai Stevenson. So are you guys familiar with this election? And like,
Yeah,
are you guys
very-
big
very.
Eisenhower fans?
So I'm gonna
So
warn you guys.
familiar.
I have an Eisenhower poster in my bedroom.
Do you?
I'm going to warn you guys right now that Joe is a presidential history nerd. So
Okay.
whatever's about to happen here, I don't know.
No,
I'm
I
not-
think I'm going to do a good job of just telling you what's important. That's what I'm trying to
All
do.
right.
Like, because I don't know much about Eisenhower. Like,
I've always
more
heard-
like the old.
I've got the
presidents.
impression that was a good president.
He really was. And this, we keep in mind, the 40s and 50s was the time when the political parties were kind of switching
Opposites.
because they were, you
Yeah.
know, the Democrats, and then you had the Southern Democrats who were racist, and then you had, so there was the liberals, and it wasn't like it is now where right is one thing and left is the other. It was kind of weird, so it's kind of changing. But he was awesome.
Yeah.
And Adlai Stevenson was good in some ways too, but what I really feel like in this election, it wasn't like it is now. Like now it's so cut and dry. It's like horrible piece of shit versus pretty good guy. You know, like now it's
Right.
like that. It's
So
so
there's just such a juxtaposition now. Yeah.
yeah, and it's but
Right.
now it's and you always know what side people are on now. Like, oh, you're
Mhm.
religious, you're on the right. Oh, you're gay, you're on the left. Oh, you're racist, you're on the right. Oh, you're not racist, you're on, whatever it is. Like
Yeah. But
whatever. Like you're pro-choice.
I mean,
you're
we
on the
could get
left.
into the fact that minorities are not monoliths, and and I'll get off on my soapbox about that.
Yeah.
That we need to make sure that we don't pigeonhole people just because they're a minority of some sort into the left or the right.
Yes. Right. You can be either one, but it just seems like it's more like now people.
It
generally
does
know.
seem that way, though.
But here it was a little more blurred. Things were blurred and it was different. But so I looked up what he was known for just because off the top of my head, because I know World War II was a big thing. Eisenhower was like a hero in World War II.
Mhm.
So he's kind of like, if you think of it like George Washington, like George Washington was the hero in the Revolutionary War, so they made him president because they're
Right.
like, that guy just
Yeah.
kicked all the British ass.
Yeah.
So same kind of thing here. Like he basically, Eisenhower was like over in Germany, like defeating
Kicking everybody's
Hitler.
ass.
You know, like he was like in charge of it all. He had to keep General Patton in line, who was a crazy,
Yeah.
so he was over there like making big deals. Like when
Yeah.
during World War II when it ended, he was there to like reform Germany, and one of the things he was instrumental in is he predicted that there would be Holocaust deniers. Like
Really?
there would be people just whitewashing it, saying, "Oh, it wasn't that bad." So he made sure to document everything they were finding in the concentration camps and all this stuff. So he was like, "No, put this down, document this, write this down, put this. We need to never forget this happened," kind of thing. So that was a big thing.
Can you imagine if they didn't ever documented it?
If they just like let it go,
Just
Like-
pretended like it never happened.
I mean,
it would
there's
just repeat
people
itself.
now that deny that it happened, and we've got extensive evidence of it. So
Yeah, we
can
also
you
have people
imagine
think
if
the world's
they?
flat? You know,
Yeah, there's some of those.
but
That's true.
so
They say it's hollow. They say
Yeah,
the Earth's hollow,
it's
and there's
hollow.
aliens that live inside the Earth.
there was a guy that
They
worked
don't.
at the place where Brandon and I worked that tried to convince me that if you go to Antarctica, there's some cave somewhere that you go through a tunnel, and it's paradise, and there's a different species of human, and they're like
In the Earth?
yeah, inside
What?
the Earth, like they go.
Hey,
yeah.
this is a conversation we have to have later.
Yeah, I know. Now you got to know who that is.
It's not that long ago too. It's just for the last 5 years that he was saying this. So,
Wow.
it
All
was-
right.
yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you about that later. Back to
Eisenhower.
So he also, whoops, I spit everywhere. Ike. He also, a lot like George Washington, he really felt like people in the military shouldn't have political leanings. So he refused to say if he was a Republican or Democrat for a long time.
Mm.
Same kind of thing. He was like, that's not what we do. We fight for everyone. So that was really kind of
Love
neat.
that.
And
yeah,
he,
that's
and he almost ran. Democrats wanted him to run as a Democrat. Republicans wanted him to run, and they had to kind of just pressure him.
Just everybody liked him.
Yeah. And the other thing he warned against is,
I know. Wait a
go
minute.
ahead.
He warned. Oh God, I taught about this, and now I can't remember. It's what drugs do to your brain.
What's it called? The military
Industrial complex.
Industrial complex.
He warned against the military-industrial complex.
Yeah, which is just like
kind of the worship of the military.
Yeah, the military building up your defense and then just going and bullying everyone. Yeah, which happened.
Up.
Like
You forgot the up.
What'd you
What's
say?
that?
Just blowing everyone.
You said just going and blowing everyone.
no bullying everyone. Sorry. But he was maybe blowing everyone too.
You
I
never
guess.
know.
I genuinely thought you said going and blowing everyone, and then I thought you were going to say up, but then you never did.
No, I said bullying.
that would have
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not very good at
been a
enunciating.
twist in the plot.
It would have been.
Yeah.
One of the, I don't know, maybe the negative things, like he had to choose Nixon as his running mate, though, because he had to appease the right-wing old guard of the Republican Party because he was kind of not really anywhere else. And then I really went really deep into the Adlai Stevenson thing. I didn't really know him at all. I wasn't sure
We
about
don't-
him.
We don't need to go. very
Basically, he's
deep
a
into-
rich
Yeah.
Northern Democrat.
Well,
But-
okay,
Rich white people ran everything. Yeah? What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, President Adelaide Stevenson doesn't have the same ring as President Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That is a good point.
It doesn't sound. Maybe it's because all the presidents' names just been like forced down our throats forever, but like
yeah,
it doesn't
you just hear him all the
sound.
time.
It doesn't sound super presidential.
No.
Well, and then you had the I like Ike. That was the big thing. The I like
Yeah.
Ike thing was was what everybody said. Let's see. He was the oldest president-elect at age 62 since James Buchanan in 1856.
Wait, are you talking about Adlai Stevenson or Dwight Eisenhower?
Sorry, Eisenhower. I just, my whole point about Adlai Stevenson was like, I just decided I'm going to just not talk about it.
Okay, sounds good.
Because one at a time, I guess.
All right.
But Eisenhower was the oldest president elected at 62 since James Buchanan in 1856. And if you don't know, James Buchanan is the first and only that I know of gay president that we've had. Look it up. He was gay.
Huh.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I didn't know that.
Ike,
What'd they call him? Nancy?
they called him Aunt Nancy.
Aunt Nancy.
They all called him Aunt Nancy. Yeah, they called it, yeah.
I think that's what they call Lindsey Graham.
And Aunt Fancy. Yeah. Well, they
Yeah.
call them ladybugs. Ladybugs.
Oh,
Graham.
we're not going to talk about that.
That's a whole nother
That's so
thing.
gross.
Look up Lindsey Graham and the ladybugs. Just look that up
Okay.
for your own.
What? Oh, I'm
Yeah,
excited.
it's gross.
Google that. Yeah, it's really
gross.
graphic.
Oh,
All
God.
right. They're like, I want to get off and hear about my coworker and look up some ladybugs.
The ladybugs are in his anus. That's a little hint.
All right, stop
all
it.
right, all right. Anyway,
God.
Eisenhower was the third commanding general of the army to serve as president after George Washington. And you know who the other one was?
I can't even. I'm
A
still.
commanding general that served as president. No, I was going to know this, right? You know the other one?
The other what?
The other general that became a president. You got Washington and Eisenhower. There's one other one. Civil War.
Oh yeah, Ulysses Grant.
Grant.
Yes, Grant.
Yeah.
Yes, good. All right, good. Anyway, and Eisenhower was the last to have not held political office prior to being president until Donald Trump in 2017, which I don't know. I hate even mentioning that guy ever. But okay, so that's all I'm gonna cover. Just like I try to cover just the bullet
That was
points.
very nice.
I didn't get into his
That was
family
nice.
history
Yeah.
or any sexual affairs
and you didn't
or any ladybugs in his anus.
stop it.
But that brings us to November 13th, 1952. We're going to turn it right back over to Bucky and Brandon, who are going to tell us something cool.
All
and Amy,
right.
you don't even know what they're
I
going to talk
don't
about.
know. I'm
Yeah, this is
excited.
cool. I'm so excited about what they picked because I never know. Like every guest we have, I just give them a bunch of random, and I never know what they're going to pick. And
Yeah.
So this one, I'm excited about what they picked. I don't know anything about this. So what are you going to tell us about?
On November 13th, 1952, the first false fingernails were commercially sold.
Oh my god,
Now-
I love this.
Now, the story of how they came to be is interesting. Basically, there was a dentist named Fred Slack,
Uh-huh.
Okay.
and his family. He came from a family of dentists.
Okay.
He broke his nail, and he
Okay.
was like, "How can I fix this?" And he was basically, the story is, he was like, "Oh, well, we use some things in dentistry that are similar to fingernails, and like the adhesives and how they would repair and fill the teeth."
Huh.
Mm.
So essentially, he made himself a fake fingernail.
And it was a big long talon with this diamond in the end.
to fix his broken nail.
Yeah.
And basically the rest is history. Later he and his family opened up a company, I believe, called Nail Systems International. They literally became like the pioneers of fake nails.
Really?
And then
Oh my
years later, I think in like the 70s, there were more people who came in the business, and
Mm-hmm.
they made
Yeah.
the acrylic nails as we know them today.
Mm-hmm.
But in my research of these fake nails, I found a lot of really entertaining things about nails. Tell us about who knew?
I'm intrigued.
One that's really funny, and then one that is very personal to me.
Okay.
That I did not find out. I already knew this.
Okay.
But basically, in like ancient China,
Mm-hmm.
people would grow their nails out really long as like a status symbol.
Okay.
And like for years and years, nails were used as like basically a way to say who was rich, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then this is a really funny fact.
Mhm.
I don't know why I find it so amusing. Maybe because I just love pistachios. But in ancient Greece, the females would use empty pistachio shells as like fake fingernails.
Oh, you're kidding.
Right? Isn't that so weird?
That is weird. I
Our
can't
daughter
imagine
does
it'd be
that.
attractive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our daughter's we get press on nails on the carpet all the time.
Yeah, they're into that right now. 12 years old, they stick to your feet and stuff.
Oh my
But
gosh.
then, like, then you get more into like the 1920s America, and then suddenly, like, nails, like shorter, more manicured nails, are then a status symbol.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really interesting to think about kind of the evolution of nails, like in fashion, and like to think about that. How like way back in ancient China, it was like you had super long nails that meant you were rich, and then in Greece you were like putting pistachio shells on your nails just to have prettier nails. I don't even know why you do that, but
Yeah, I know.
it's kind of like, it reminds me of like putting the bugles on the end of my fingers, like my grandma's house, when I was a kid, and like pretending like I was a witch and had like long nails or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, the ancient China thing, is it related, do you think, to like they don't have to do any manual labor? If you're rich, you don't have to do any
probably
work. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And then you think about like, now I remember, when I was younger, the Guinness Book of Records was like a huge thing. And I remember like one of the biggest ones was always like who had the longest toenails and the longest
that
nails.
guy would hold up his hand and it was just long
like
curling nails. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
but so anyway, so then, just thinking about the kind of the transition that nails have had. And then it's just interesting to think about the dental industry being kind of the foundation of like nail, where like nail art went, because like from there came your polishes and your gel polish and all that, which was like 70s and 80s when most of that became popular. So my personal connection to this is that, fun fact for anybody who does not know, I'm a huge Dolly Parton fan. Joe knows this about me.
Yes.
I love Dolly. You should have told me I wore my T-shirt.
Oh, I should. I forgot to. I wanted to start a podcast with Brandon a while back called like Obsessed, and it would start with him talking about Dolly Parton, just because everybody you talk to, if you really talk to somebody well enough, you'll find that almost everybody's got something that they're really, really into. So yeah. So tell us, okay, what is the Dolly?
So Dolly's my thing. Well, so she wrote, backstory a little bit. So she was approached to do the movie 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
It was her first major motion picture. She said, being the boss she is, she's like a Will and Dylan, right? Dolly's always Will and Dylan. So she was like, I'll be in your movie.
Yes.
If I can write the theme song.
Yes, if I can write the song. That's right. Okay. I remember that. Yeah.
So they were like, okay, yeah, sure. We want you, Dolly. You can write the theme song. So then she's on the set of the movie. She's like trying to come up with a song. Nothing's really working for her. And then she one day, like, I can't really make. I don't know.
You don't have nails.
Can y'all hear that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's like on the set, and it's about a visual representation. Brendan is rubbing his nails together.
Yeah. Brandon is rubbing his nails together on the microphone.
No, they. So she's on the set, and she like realized one day, she's like, "Oh my god!" Like, the 9 to 5 is obviously set in an office for. If there's anybody that hasn't seen it, shame on you.
Yeah, she's awesome in that.
And she realized, she's like, "Oh, like the noise that my nails make kind of sounds like a typewriter."
Mm-hmm.
And so then she literally is just walking around the set like doing this. And then that's how you stumble out of bed and you tumble in the kitchen, pour myself a cup of it.
Yep.
Like, so literally she wrote this song on her nails on the set.
Oh my gosh.
So if you go to the actual album that 9 to 5 is on, it says Dolly Parton, lead vocals, and nails. Like they literally, like, she legitimately is playing her nails on the actual recording of 9 to 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, that's
I'm not.
funny.
Like, if you look it up, that can be what you can look up after this. I'm gonna go Google Lindsey Graham Ladybug.
Oh my God, you'll never be the same.
Don't use your work computer.
You can go Google, like, I don't know.
Well, I just want to listen. I want to listen to the song and see if I can hear the nails at the beginning.
And she's always done it like in interviews and stuff. I mean, she's talked about this a bunch at interviews.
Yeah.
But if you're like a Dolly freak like me, then you would know. This is something you would know. And I did not look this up, but now I'm like, is she like the only person who's ever been credited with like playing her nails on like a song?
I bet.
Maybe,
I can't imagine anybody
else. Can you
like?
I don't know what else.
Yeah.
But like, to hear her, like, if you ever, like, for all of you out there, you should just look up Dolly nails 9 to 5 or something. I don't know. But if you like see her playing her nails and singing the song, it like makes perfect sense. It's like, oh my God, genius.
She was so good in that movie too. I mean, she was so beautiful and she was so funny and good.
Oh,
I mean, she was so good.
Yeah, it's such
so
a good
likable.
movie.
But yeah, I bet there's a whole genre. Maybe there's a whole subgenre of house music where they just play nails.
Maybe.
You never know.
But so throughout, when you gave me this topic, I was like, okay. And then I didn't even make the connection until much later.
Wow,
and I was
that's
like,
cool.
oh my God, like, this is so funny because this has something to do with like something I'm obsessed with.
Yeah, that's
You know, if
Awesome.
and I learned something. I learned
if
I
Fred
didn't.
Slack had never invented these fake fingernails, Dolly Parton may have never written 9 to 5.
Right,
Oh my
that's
God,
true.
that's
And
What
my
a
life
shame.
would have never been the same.
Exactly.
No.
you would be a fan of I don't know, Bananarama or
Maybe.
Leanne
Yeah.
Rhymes. No, who's the gal? Who's the older gal with who's the country singer with the
Reba
red hair? Reba
McEntire.
McEntire. You'd
Well,
be a
I mean,
Reba fan.
I love Reba.
Well, you would only be a Reba fan. Yeah,
She's
but
no
she
Dolly.
transcends. The cool thing about her is that, of course, we've talked about this, but just that her audience, and she refuses to alienate anyone. Like, her audience is
Yeah.
just an amalgamation of
Mhm.
Americans that
Literally anybody.
have
Yeah.
completely different backgrounds and feelings and beliefs, but they all come together for Dolly. So,
Yep.
But-
I
She's
love
a
it.
national treasure.
She is.
She is.
Mhm.
And I'll add this, that throughout my research, I also found out that 1952 is ironically the year that Dolly Parton gave her first public singing performance of all time ever
Oh,
Really?
wow.
in her grandpa's Pentecostal Holiness Church up in the hills of Tennessee.
Really?
Oh,
Why didn't I
wow.
cover that? I didn't. I
That's
wonder-
like
I missed that.
You missed it.
I didn't know that happened.
What?
Research.
There was a Dolly fact. And
That's
you
what
missed
you
it. How
should have
dare
let
you.
him cover.
But I remember just it was from that podcast, Dolly Parton's America, Chad Abramowitz Radio Lab, where I listened to that whole thing. It was interesting just how she started, and that guy who she started with, I forget his name, that was real bastard that she finally got away from.
Oh, Porter Wagner?
Porter Wagner, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know any of that. Like,
Yeah.
Hmm.
when I my earliest memory of her is just her singing with Kenny Rogers when I was a kid, So, So
Yeah.
anyway, but I have something on that same day, November 13th, 1952.
Good job, guys, by the way.
Yeah, that was great. That was really
Thanks.
very interesting.
I
Good
loved
way to
it.
make
I
history.
worked really hard on
I
that.
loved
Bucky put Brandon up to it.
Yeah.
So I have something kind of interesting, I think, about this random guy.
Okay.
So this first part I got from chestnuthilllocal.com, which is a Philadelphia or a Pennsylvania paper
Mhm.
online. Do you guys know who Margaret Wise Brown is?
Yes.
You guys know who that is?
No.
The
She's a children's author.
children's author. She's the author of Goodnight Moon.
Yeah.
Oh,
You've probably
okay,
seen
yeah.
that book. You've heard that
Yeah.
book, and you'll get familiar with that book once you guys start on your journey,
Yeah.
because that's the
'Cause
first kids book
They'll
everybody
be
reads their
obsessed with
children.
it.
Like
Your
every-
child will be obsessed with it.
little babies love Goodnight Moon. I never knew it when I was a kid
I didn't
until
know
we
it.
had kids. Like,
Yeah.
you bought it for our kids. That was my first, so I didn't know what it was. But then it was a bit. Everyone said, "Oh, that's a classic. Everyone knows Goodnight Moon." That's all I knew about Goodnight Moon. I didn't know anything else. I didn't know anything about the author. But this is kind of a wild ride I found out in 1952. So in 1952, Margaret Wise Brown, who was this tall, beautiful, athletic, blonde woman, she was in Nice, France, on a book promotion tour, and she had to enter a hospital for surgery. Most accounts say it was for appendicitis,
Mhm.
but the operation went well. In fact, the doctor came around to see her, and she stood up and did a quick can style leg kick to show him that she
Her
had
beaver.
that she had.
Just imagine just in the hospital gown. You know?
She probably did show her beaver a little bit.
You can't do a can kick in a hospital gown.
So that's not what I was going to say.
Okay, sorry.
But she stood up to show him that she hadn't lost her athletic vigor, like that she was still athletic.
Oh.
Look, I'm fine. I'm all better.
Ooh.
And that was typical of her. She would do that. But this time, the sudden exertion loosened a blood clot that went right to her heart and killed her within
Oh,
minutes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
what? Way to
that
bring
got
down like
dark
my
fast.
favorite children's author. My God.
Yeah, she died within minutes, but it gets crazier. This thing gets crazier the more about this. So she dies within minutes. She was only 42.
Oh my God.
All right. So this is Margaret Wise
This
Brown.
is right after her can kick.
Right after her can cake, everybody saw her beaver, and then she died.
Oh my God.
Every time when
What a
y'all
way
say
to go
the
out.
when y'all say the kick, you remember the
Yes,
I imagine her being
50.
like Sally O'Malley.
Yes.
But she's like, I can kick.
Yeah, it's stretch.
She's like, look, I can kick. Yeah.
Amy did that character every single day when we saw that on that.
Oh my god, I
She was
loved
always
it. I
doing that, yeah.
loved it.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to Margaret Wise Brown, who just died in a hospital floor in France. So it turns out they had to go into her finances and everything. And the author of Goodnight Moon, now Goodnight Moon wasn't what it was in '52 as it is today. Like,
Right.
It wasn't even popular at all. It was like barely anything. Like it wasn't worth much. So she had left all of the book's royalties to her 9-year-old neighbor, Albert Clark, in 1952.
Whoa.
So it was like she was like best friends with the mom, but she left all. And the weird thing to me is that he had a brother. She didn't leave him
Anything.
hardly anything, but she left
Her whole fortune.
a bunch of books and stuff to Albert. So it's a little weird. Like, what is going on?
Weird.
So my first thought was kind of like maybe she and the neighbor lady were together. Like in the 50s, you couldn't.
Oh, maybe. That's
So,
true.
but we'll get into more. So Albert, though, who the 9-year-old who got the inheritance, but she gave not only the books, other inheritance too. So at the time, it was worth like $15,000, like everything. The book was not worth much, like $500 only, not much. But Albert claims that he overheard his mom, his biological mom, or his real mom, Joan McCormick was her name, on the telephone in 1955, a couple years later, telling her sister-in-law about the inheritance she left him, Margaret Wise Brown left him. And according to Albert, she also mentioned that Margaret Wise Brown is actually Albert's biological mother.
Oh.
Okay.
What?
I don't know. So that
makes sense,
what,
though. That would make sense. Why
she kicked? With the vagina part?
No,
or what?
why she left the money to him?
That would make sense to me too. It's like, why else would she give it to a neighbor boy, or whatever, and not the other, So, but his brother Austin, Albert's brother Austin, says that's rubbish. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He says, Austin Clark says that's delusional thinking, because, and his thing is, Miss Brown, she bequeathed to Austin one title, another book she wrote called Sailor Dog, which isn't popular at all. And his most recent monthly royalty check was for $13.88.
Okay.
And so we'll get into what Goodnight Moon is making this Albert in a little
Lord,
bit.
I
can't even imagine it's so popular. So,
yeah.
And then also a biographer of Margaret Wise Brown, Leonard Marcus, did a 1992 biography. So they asked him, what do you think about this? And he was like, nobody ever intimated to me that she might have been pregnant or that she was hiding it. So he was skeptical. But that doesn't mean you would know. I mean, people can do crazy stuff. In the 50s, I feel like there was all kinds of things in the 50s where...
Well, and people turned the other way.
What's that?
People turned the other way. They looked the other way
on everything.
Yeah.
Right? So if you got
family secrets,
if you got pregnant in high school, they just send you away.
That happened to
all kinds of stuff like that. Like if you were gay, you couldn't talk about it. You had to keep.
You would go away, have the baby, and then come back.
Like everything was
without a baby.
It's just crazy what we've finding. But anyway, one thing that is true apparently about her, though, and you can find this everywhere, is that she did have an affair with a woman named Michael Strange. Do you guys know who Michael Strange is? Is that a famous person that just I didn't know?
No.
It's a woman named Michael
It's a woman name. That's her pen name.
Oh, okay.
Of John Barrymore's ex-wife, Blanche Ulrichs. I didn't know if this was a common thing that everybody knows, and I was like, I don't know who this is. So apparently John Barrymore's ex-wife had a love affair with Margaret Wise Brown.
Oh.
And it began as a mentoring relationship because Ulrich was 20 years older. And I guess it was like they're authors and they're both authors. She was like teaching her how to be an author or whatever. So they apparently had a love affair.
Yeah.
So that makes, in my mind, that opens it up to potentially maybe she was in love with her neighbor. But she was engaged. Margaret Wise Brown was engaged to a guy, some rich guy at the time when she died. So, but maybe she was really in love with her neighbor, and it was a thing where they couldn't tell anybody. She was probably married, and then so maybe, but I don't know.
But why not just leave it to her then?
Right.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't understand. That's the crazy thing. So,
I mean, is there? Well, yeah. But,
well, here's the craziest part:
being a woman, because if it's a woman, like if it's the woman's baby or not.
Right.
Somebody does. It's not as if with men, like sure, like
Right.
Anybody.
That can be,
Yeah.
in question, and nobody will ever really know unless you do a DNA test. But with
Mhm.
this,
Right.
it's like
That's the weird part
You'd
of it,
know
I
who-
think. That you
yeah.
would know. I guess you could hide a pregnancy. I mean, there are people that have babies and they don't know they're pregnant. Like that does happen. Like
Mhm.
I know one, and she wasn't even, I don't think that heavy. Anyway.
well, if she was wealthy, especially
Yeah.
like if she had wealth, like
Oh,
she
she
could
could
just
hide.
go on. She could just go on like an 8-month-long vacation.
Yeah.
Right. A cruise or
and
whatever.
it would be probably not that abnormal.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think she was well off. She was born, and she did her background, Margaret Wise Brown. She didn't have a great childhood. She was in and out of therapy as a kid and had some trouble, but she was rich. So,
Mhm.
but here's the thing that's crazy: why this is even a story? Not even that stuff. It's the fact that she left all this money to Albert Clark, and that since then, Clark has been arrested dozens of times, had 2 kids with a homeless woman he met on 6th Avenue in New York City, and squandered most of the millions that he received.
Aw.
According to a Wall Street Journal article in the year 2000 from Joshua Harris, I just have to use this quote. It's written so well. Mr. Clark was a rascally 9-year-old when he inherited that jewel. Ever since, as Goodnight Moon had drifted toward the center of America's collective consciousness, he has floated on the fringes of society. No steady job, no fixed place of abode, dozens of arrests. Rarely has his life traced a path through terrain even remotely resembling the world of Miss Brown's stories. Over the years, that world has yielded to him nearly $5 million.
Whoa.
And by 2000, he only had $27,000 in cash left. And that was in 2000. So it's
Yeah.
been 20 years. But after this sort of Wall Street Journal article was written, he kind of disappeared.
Mm.
But he disappeared with $480,000. Something that was his after he squandered everything else.
Yeah.
And so his quote was, "I'm an inept bungler when it comes to business matters," Mr. Clark said. And so he did. There was an attorney who wouldn't let him get any money till he was 21, and then also give him an allowance because they knew he was bad news. Like he had been arrested so many times.
Right.
So they only gave him an allowance every month or every couple months, and then he would just live off it. Like he would just live at the beach.
Sounds nice.
And yeah, so he was throughout his life. He was arrested for smashing a traffic light, stealing cars, a lot of fights. He left home in high school, but he would still sneak back into his parents' house and steal food. He would use a sledgehammer to empty parking meters of change. Meanwhile, he's continued to make all this money. He would rob. He was in Thailand and India, like all these different countries, just living on the beach, doing whatever. Started having children with random people. Meanwhile, just making millions and millions, and just like spending it. Like he never did anything other than just kind of just drift. And so like all this money she left to him, and then he towards like this, I think the 70s, he was in Puerto Rico or somewhere, and then he got arrested for marijuana. So to avoid prison, he went back to New York, and this is where he met a homeless woman and started living in a car with her and had 2 children.
Jeez.
Meanwhile, was making about $45,000 a year in the 70s. So that's
not bad.
That's not bad for the 70s.
Mm-mm.
But he would get arrested for larceny, things like that.
He sounded like he had mental health problems.
Yeah, I think he just, it was just like he didn't give a shit, I guess. So, but then he ended up, so when the executor, the lawyer that was like kind of giving him his stipends or whatever, when he died, he had finally kind of cleaned up a little bit. He had bought a house for his family, and he and the homeless lady broke up. I mean, she wasn't homeless anymore. She moved in his house, but she was abusive.
She was homeless again.
She was abusive, so he was
She was
awarded.
abusive to him?
She was abusive to him and the kids, I guess, and so he was rewarded the kids, and then she was gone. But he still was just not. I mean, he was just like scrolling. So yeah, when that guy died, he had $488,000.
That was a real downer of a story.
Yeah, and then so he just swallowed all her money, and we don't know why she gave it to him. But in the end, he said, "Goodnight Moon" isn't even his favorite book.
Oh, Jesus!
He was partial to Pussy Willow. because he said
I'm
this
sure he was.
this little furry gray kitten gets lost. He said he's wandering past different kinds of things, different types of trees, and then all I remember is that he finally realizes he's home because he sees a pussy willow tree. That was written by Joshua
Yeah.
Harris Prager. You can email him at
So many
josh.prager@wallstreetjournal.com. Yeah, so
All
it
right.
was just a long meandering story, and I sensed when it got boring, I hurried through a lot.
Yeah, you did.
So I had a
Because you
lot-
had written about 8
Joe,
pages.
I did.
I love how insecure you are about your story. Your
Well, as I'm
storytelling.
reading it, I'm like, yeah, it's so hard for me to edit stuff because I know that I find things interesting that the general public doesn't. So
Yes.
it's hard sometimes I try to. And then,
Yes.
and sometimes I do think people like stuff that you don't like.
No,
So-
I'm not saying.
I know. I'm just saying. Sometimes you
All right.
rush me
Why do
through.
you got to be about me?
just peer pressure. All right, I got a couple more things. Now, do you guys, Bucky and Brandon, do you guys like birthdays?
I mean,
What-
yeah, I think so.
Sure.
Yeah, because normal people like birthdays. But I'm going to hit this
Yeah.
theme song. Hit it.
Amy hates birthdays. Amy hates birthdays.
Because she hates it when I cover birthdays. Because I started just putting notable people's birthdays in this.
No, they're not
Hey.
notable people.
Oh, this one is.
Oh,
Because on
Jesus.
November 15th, 1952, born in Columbus, Ohio, the eldest son of Judy and Angelo Paffo. His father was Italian American and his mother was Jewish. Randy Paffo was raised Roman Catholic and was born Randy Paffo, Randy Macho Man Savage. The Macho Man, Randy Savage's
right.
birthday.
I have to let you cover that.
Yes.
Bucky likes
Because-
like that.
His dad was a wrestler, Angelo Paffo. His little brother was Lanny Paffo. He lived in Zanesville, Ohio, where he attended Grover Cleveland Middle School. He graduated from Downers Grove North High School in Downers Grove, Illinois. Same high school that Denise Richards went to. So how about that? Now you know that little bit of trivia.
Oh,
Randy
no, I can
Savage.
get on board with that.
Yeah, see,
You
he likes Denise Richards better.
Weren't you Macho Man for Halloween? That one? No, that was the Undertaker. Sorry,
Yeah, that's
never
different.
mind. I'm
Same
sorry.
thing. No, a lot of people don't know. You guys, probably nobody here will care about this. You guys aren't baseball fans, are you guys?
No.
I found out today as I was just browsing through this that
Can we take a little?
right after I
5-minute
say
break?
this sentence, and then we'll
Okay.
take a break. No, we're almost done. I only got one other thing, and we're done. We're just
Oh,
ending the
okay.
episode. So Larry Herndon, a famous Cardinals baseball player, was Macho Man Randy Savage's roommate when they were in the minor leagues. Larry Herndon's a big deal. Okay. So,
So
I only
Randy
got.
Macho Man played minor league baseball too.
Oh yeah, he played for the Reds. Yeah, he played minor league baseball. He was going to go full out in his baseball career while his brother and everybody else did wrestling, but I think he hurt his knee or something, and we covered it on an episode of American Timeline. So you have to go back to episode 14.
knows.
No, I don't know.
So
where
this is the second time that Randy Macho Man Savage has made an appearance
Oh.
on the podcast.
Oh, Brandon, the second time this episode, he brings up Randy Macho Man Savage pretty much every
I'm
episode.
a big fan of Randy Macho Man
Yeah.
Savage.
He's got 3
Ooh,
T-shirts.
yeah, I got that Christmas sweater with Macho Man.
Well,
on.
here's a fun fact,
Yeah.
a wrestling fun fact. You know, Bucky's real estate agent, he recently sold a house that
Oh.
had previously been the home of Ric Flair.
Oh, woo!
That's right. He's
Yes,
from
'cause
around
he's
here.
from Charlotte
Yeah.
area. So what part of town can you say, or is that illegal to disclose?
No, it was like basically right in Matthews.
Okay.
In between like Matthews and South Park.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
didn't know
rich-
Ric Flair lived over there. I know Arn Anderson. Do you know who that is? One of the Four Horsemen. I think he still lives in town somewhere. And Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's son lives in Waxhaw, where we are.
All right.
Anyway, all right, enough. All right. And then
All right.
we got to play the theme song again because we got another birthday.
No.
Amy hates birthdays. Amy hates birthdays.
Amy hates birthdays. Actor Delroy Lindo was born on November 18th, 1952. Do you guys know who Delroy Lindo is?
I
don't.
don't.
Oh, you would. If you Google him, you'll know him. He was
What
in
is-
Get
give me some,
Shorty.
like, notable.
Get Shorty is he's
Who was he in Get Shorty?
oh, I don't know, the bald black guy. He's a bald black. He's a cool bald black guy, but I didn't know he was British. He's got 3 Screen Actors Guild awards.
Oh,
He was in Malcolm X.
Mhm.
Played West
Yeah.
Indian Archie.
I mean,
Yeah. Now seeing his
Crooklyn.
he's like one of those guys where you know his face, but never his name.
You never know his name.
Exactly.
And then I always know his name because I love saying Delroy Lindo.
All right.
I yell Delroy Lindo every time I see him. We got to get to your story. So yeah, we gotta.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. After Delroy Lindo's your story, so we're gonna take a quick break. This will be a perfect place. This is where we're gonna take a quick break and listen to our sponsor.
Paranormal horror author Eve S. Evans introduces a brand new spine-chilling release. Supernatural 911 Calls, available on Amazon today. First responders with any real time on the job believe in ghosts. They've experienced events they can't otherwise explain. Same with other professions that deal with injuries, accidents, or death. Police officers, firemen, 911 operators, they've seen the worst that people can do to one another, and they've all had brushes with the unexplained. Don't believe in ghosts? This book might change your mind and steal any hope of sleep. These stories are unexplainable, true accounts from first responders, police officers, firemen, and 911 operators, told from the perspective of everyday people. Every single tale between these covers is 100% true. Think you can explain them? We dare you to try.
Okay, and we're back. So buy that book. I want to buy that book, don't you?
Yeah.
That book about the ghost
Yes.
stories.
Yeah. Yes.
It's on Amazon.
I know. We owe Amazon a lot of money.
Well, just add it to the
Yeah, it's
Bill.
fine. I don't know.
Yeah, so buy that book. And now we're going to get back, and Amy's got something to tell us about on November 22nd, 1952. Bucky and Brandon, how are you guys with horrible rape stories? Do you like them? Are you into rape stories?
I mean,
yeah.
I do watch like SVU a lot.
Yeah,
Yes.
I watch a lot of
Yes.
SVU.
They're murderinos.
And I've watched like the unedited versions of like I Spit on Your Grave and Last House on the Left. I don't know if you've ever seen those. But
Oh my God. Ooh. That's almost too much for me. I
There's some
tried
very
I spit on your
graphic-
grave and I was like, I'm going to throw up.
So you like murders. You guys are okay with
Yes.
murders and true
Yeah,
crime.
I love it.
All right.
Well,
This one.
Yeah, those movies are specifically like rape revenge movies.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't like
like
those.
It's bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of rape.
No, and there is a touch
Well,
of rape in
that's
this.
good, yeah.
There is rape in this?
There's a touch.
Oh.
Okay, so it's been kind of challenging to find big crimes every month of 1952.
Right.
So I kind of expand a little bit out,
I love it when you do UFO stories.
Well,
Those are
this
the
isn't
best.
that.
Oh.
I'm going to talk about I'm going to talk about the Heel Street Gang.
Okay. The
Okay.
Heel Street Gang.
But
Okay.
really what I'm going to talk about is the worst prison in America.
The worst prison in America.
Yeah. This is known it used to be known as the Alcatraz of the South. And it also the Farm.
This is in 1952.
Well, this is the Angola prison.
Okay.
And it is considered to be one of the most brutal prisons in the history of the United
Well,
States.
if you guys are going to have the Southern Daddies on a Southern show, you need
might
to know
as
the
well, right?
worst, the worst prison in the South.
Southern prisons. It was a nightmare for convicts to be sent to the prison. In the 1930s, hardened prisoners broke down upon learning of their sentence there. At one point, 10% of Angola prisoners were stabbed.
10%?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I'm so scared of
10%?
prison.
Yeah.
I'm scared of prison. I think 10% is low. That seems low. Like my biggest fear in life is I'm going to get framed for something and go to prison and just get endlessly raped.
All right. We're moving on.
Because I'm not tough. I'm not tough.
All right.
I will.
Let's keep going. We're moving this train along.
I think the funny guys though, like I think funny guys usually get left alone, right? Don't they? Like if I tell jokes,
I don't know.
or do I just become the bitch?
No, you
I
have to
don't know.
become the lawyer. You have to get your ass in the library and learn all the case law, and then you can help the other inmates with.
Yeah, but Andy
legal
Dufresne got raped.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Anyway, back to prison.
So, the Angola prison, officially known as the Louisiana State Penitentiary,
Okay.
is a maximum security prison operated by the Louisiana Department of Corrections. Originally, it was a plantation owned by Isaac Franklin in the 1830s, a slave trader and a planter.
Okay. So a slave plantation
So it
that
was a
became a prison,
plantation turned prison.
Yes.
which is basically what our system is.
He named it Angola because the majority of the enslaved people that were brought to Louisiana were from the African country of Angola.
Oh.
The plantation had multiple owners in the next 50 years. Finally, it was purchased by Samuel Lawrence James in 1880. He was a former officer of the Confederate States Army.
Okay.
It was James who turned the plantation into a prison for storing prisoners. This was possible through the convict leasing system. As early as 1844, Louisiana used to lease out convicts as enslaved people to private corporations such as plantation owners.
Because if you don't know, when they abolished slavery, there was a loophole that said slavery is still legal as long as they're a prisoner,
Right.
somebody who's committed a crime. So the thing was, let's just put black people in jail for any old thing that we could say is a crime, and slavery still exists. So
And then just rent them out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Basically.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
you rent them out to other people.
Yep.
So
So the corporation or the lessee was responsible for taking care of the convicts and even housing them. So all the convicts at the Angola plantation were under James's care and without state intervention.
ugh.
Currently, the prison has 6,300 prisoners. To look after the prisoners, it has 1,800 staff. So Major James, the guy who took it over, right?
Right.
He had full authority over the convicts. And he was very violent with
Okay.
them. If they misbehaved or had disagreements with the master, then they would need to pay minor fees and fines as punishment. This gave an edge to Major James, who abused the convicts who misbehaved. He even used to underfeed them and make them work extra long hours under harsh conditions, and sometimes even they would even get murdered, and he would kind of bury them on the plantation grounds.
That was before it was a prison, right?
No, this is when it just turned into one.
Just into a prison.
When
Okay.
stories of abuse and harsh living conditions escaped the walls of the plantation, the state took full control of the prison in 1901. But even that was in vain. The state never allocated proper funds for the betterment of the prison and continued decreasing costs. In the 1940s, a former Angola prisoner named William Sadler wrote a series of articles depicting the inhumane life in the prison. He described a warden who would walk around with a 3-foot leather strap to lash the prisoners.
Shit.
Sadler wrote he raised it over his head with both hands and brought it down with a sharp pop like a pistol shot on the naked man's back. 1, 2, 3, 20. The count goes beyond 30. The man moans, pleads for mercy, calls on God. The captain tells him, you better call on someone closer to you, someone who can help you. So when even the state failed to provide better conditions, the prisoners took matters into their own hands. And this is when we get to 1952.
I just can't believe all of it. Like just the brutality of it all. Like of just the world.
You,
like
do
how
you
is
hear
the
like
world
they have
so-
there's news reports now about how there's a crisis in the prisons because they're not air conditioned. Prisons aren't air conditioned. Did you know that? And all across the country, these prisoners are people are passing out and dying from heat strokes in the
heat is
prisons
ridiculous.
because they won't air condition it because they think it's a luxury.
Are we just awful human? Is human nature just horrible? Like why? How is there all this awfulness?
I think greed, but
People are just terrible people.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
I mean,
I think
that's
you're
literally-
right.
I mean, that's literally all. Some people are just terrible.
They just suck.
Yeah.
They just suck.
It's like I just feel like if somebody just went in and was like, "Hey, this is awful. You're
Yeah.
terrible."
Hmm.
I don't get
Would
it.
you
Like,
probably just be like turned into a slave or like
yeah, you'd be
beat
Yeah.
to death or
Yeah.
your family threatened. I mean, you know what I
yeah.
mean?
You
Uh-huh.
just, so you didn't say anything. People just didn't speak
That's
up.
the thing about
probably.
those people. They're people in power. So like,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
power corrupts you, right? Goes to your head or something. Okay, I'll let you
So
go.
in 1952, 31 inmates slit their Achilles tendons to protest the harsh conditions in the prison.
Ugh,
And
that would hurt so bad.
in the book,
I
The Life
cannot
and
imagine.
Yeah, I
Ugh.
know. In the book, The Life and Legend of Leadbelly, the treatment at Angola prison was described as probably as close to slavery as any person could come in 1930.
Yeah.
Criminals would break down when they were told they had been sentenced to Angola. This is how bad the conditions were. Most often, the violence was the result of white-black racial tensions. In the 1950s, each year, 1 in every 10 inmates received stab wounds. And I already had said that. The inmates who slit their tendons later came to be known as the Heel Street Gang.
Ugh.
Their actions did not go all in vain, though.
Okay.
National news agencies started writing expose stories on the living conditions at Angola prison, and Collier's magazine, which
This is
we
what
have,
we're talking about. This is
which we have on our living room wall.
yeah. Amy's got a bunch of covers of the old Collier's 50s pinup type
Yes,
covers. Yeah.
I love them. Anyway, they issued the 1952 issue referred to the prison as the worst prison in America.
Right.
Margaret Dixon, the managing editor of Baton Rouge Morning Advocate, worked towards bringing reform to the prison, and her efforts helped the prison to some length. And then for decades, the violence couldn't be curbed. Then they got this new warden named Burl Kane in 1995. And when he came on, it was one of the most violent prisons in America.
Really? Did he fix it?
He came in and he had this religious thing that he brought in, but it did help.
Oh.
It helped curb the violence.
Okay.
And because they were ministering to them, they weren't just punishing them.
Right.
They were ministering to them, and no matter what it is you're ministering, that will be a salve.
Okay.
You know,
A salve or an ointment or a cream.
something like that.
Okay.
Wow.
And now today, this article, and I'll tell you where it came from in a minute, but they said the prison has a museum and yearly shows that bring funding into the prison, and that helps the authorities improve prison conditions, leading to a better life in the prison.
Hey,
and there's
kids, want to go see the prison museum?
a prison rodeo and
Prison
Shows?
rodeo?
Okay, now I would pay for that. The prison rodeo.
The prison rodeo.
No, wouldn't that be awesome?
Bucky, did you say prison musical?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Why
That-
hasn't anybody done that?
Is there one? There's got to
don't
be one,
think.
right? Jailhouse Rock?
Jailhouse Rock, is that a musical?
Is that a musical?
Well, there's Cell Block Tango from Chicago.
Oh, there
See,
you
there
go.
you go. I knew you'd think of
So
something.
my source was unbelievablefacts.com. So I'm not going to say for sure that the conditions have improved all that much at Angola prison. I did verify that it was true, but
So it is still a functioning prison today.
yep, it is.
So I know that sounds like you didn't do a lot of research. So this isn't a
No.
gotcha question, but
yeah, it is.
after you cut your Achilles,
oh God,
tendon,
I
can
don't
you-
know.
can you ever walk again? Like what's
I don't know.
You can have it. Yeah,
like
I mean,
limping?
yeah, like people rip it in sports injuries, and you just
Yeah.
have to kind of have it put back together.
Oh,
but,
God.
Cut it.
But back in the now that I don't know.
Cutting it might be.
Don't you think cutting it would
Be
be better than like
irreparable.
ripping it apart?
Ugh.
At least it's a nice clean cut.
Why don't you guys for your
I'm
YouTube
sure it's
channel?
not a
Why don't you
nice
try
clean
it?
cut.
Why don't you guys
But-
try
yeah.
it for your YouTube
But
channel? And see
you
what
know
happens.
what?
For the
Sad,
views,
though?
for the views.
What's
Yeah.
sad is that, I mean, I guess it's good that, the news caught on and stuff, but you probably know that the men that did that and cut their heels or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
they probably were still forced to work with the injury.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It probably
Yeah.
didn't work out the way they.
Mm-hmm.
I would guess they got out of it at least for the interim, like when they're bleeding all over the place, right? Wouldn't they like?
You would
Well,
think.
then maybe,
I don't
but I
know.
mean, I'm saying like they probably didn't get like
Oh, they probably
medical attention.
They probably
Right.
got the shit kicked out of them too. Probably, I would guess. Oh, it's terrible.
There's just so
Yeah.
much wrong with
What
our
a
prison
downer.
system.
That was another downer.
I know.
That
I'm
was another downer.
sorry.
Well, I'm going to bring us up. I'm going to end this on a light note because on November 26, 1952, the first ever 3D feature film
Ooh.
premieres in Los Angeles called Buana Devil, directed by
Ugh.
Arch Obler, starring Robert Stack and Barbara Britton. Buana Devil is based on the true story of the Savo man-eaters and filmed with a Natural Vision 3D system. The film is notable for sparking the first ever 3D film craze in the motion picture industry, as well as for being the first feature-length 3D film in color and the first 3D sound feature in English. The advertising tagline was, "The miracle of the age, a lion in your lap, a lover in your arms."
God, they loved 3D movies in the 1950s.
Well, remember, there's always a guy running around in the 50s with 3D,
3D
glasses,
glasses on.
like just running around like all the time.
Yeah.
And then, well, I'm going to bring it back down a little bit
Why?
Oh, God.
because
Let's just end.
on November 30th, Jackie Robinson accused the New York Yankees of racial bias on national television. I guess I could just end it and not talk about this. But basically the Yankees were one of the only teams that didn't have any black people on it still at this time. Everybody started integrating.
Yeah.
And
Jackie Robinson called him out
Jackie
for
Robinson, according to the book Elston and Me, the story of the first black Yankee by Arlene Howard and Ralph Wimbish in 2001. Jackie Robinson. So it wasn't. He hated the Yankees. A lot of people think because he had 4 World Series losses to them, but after Jackie broke the color barrier in 1947, the Yankees continued to dominate the Brooklyn Dodgers and the rest of the major leagues with all white lineups. On November 30th, 1952, on a New York TV show called Youth Wants to Know, Jackie Robinson blasted baseball's most prominent team. A young girl asked Jackie why the Yankees had no black players. And without blinking, he said, "I think the Yankee management is prejudiced." Robinson's comment wasn't
Good for him.
First shock. Yeah, I mean, he did so much. Like he had such balls to. I mean, Jackie Robinson was getting spiked by everybody. Like people were hitting him and like bumping into, hitting him on purpose, like spiking him on the baselines and stuff. And then he just like stood up and said this. You know, he had pretty big balls. I think. So, what was I gonna say? Anyway. Yeah, so he made that comment on national TV, but I think he made change. Like he helped make change. So that
For sure.
it's a downer that they were still white, and then they were winning everything. But that's it. That's all in November of 1952.
Yes.
Nothing else happened, and that's all we're gonna cover.
Nothing else happened.
But we got nails. We got brand new nails. We got 3D movies. We got a horrible prison system. But we got racism. We got rapes. We got
A children's book.
we got a children's book that leaves.
Yeah, with a very twisted. That was my favorite
where
story.
the author shows her beaver, then dies instantly.
Yeah,
and then leaves all the
that
money
was,
to
that was weird.
a guy who impregnates homeless people. So, yeah, well, thanks for being here, guys. Check out Southern Snackers. Check out Southern Daddies. You can subscribe now on YouTube. I'm so excited about that.
I know. I'm gonna watch that.
That's so cool. I can't wait to follow your journey, and I'm so excited just to find out about what you guys find out about. You know how difficult it is, and then I wish you guys both success and doing it. We'll be following along, and hopefully, if you're not both completely miserable, we'll have you back someday on here.
Yeah,
please do.
this has
Do
been
this
fun.
again.
Oh,
Yeah,
yay.
you guys are fun.
Yeah,
we love you guys. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Anything
you so,
else
so
you guys
much.
want to leave them with? You guys want to do a little quick song, a little quick doo-wop to sing us out?
we could do our outro
Yes. What's the outro?
for
our podcast.
Okay.
Because
We do have a podcast, Southern Chatter, which we did like a
Southern
little
Chatter.
episode right before this to kind of promote this as
Get
well.
ready.
So. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And just remember, y'all,
When life gets tough,
just keep on chatting.
Oh, that's so cute.
So
Well,
on
I
our
think the
YouTube
other thing
channel, we say that, but we say keep on snacking.
Yeah.
Keep on
Oh,
snacking.
I love
And
that.
keep on American Timeline. And
Yep,
and,
and
and
it is
when
time to get out of here,
it's-
Chuck Berry.
Yeah, get out of here, Chuck Berry. I was just gonna say, these guys also, can they look at you? Can they see your Christmas carols on Southern Snackers?
They're on our they're on
Oh,
our
those I
YouTube-
love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're on our YouTube channel.
Okay, yeah. Look back for their Christmas carols because they do 25 days
I
of
love those.
Christmas songs,
Yeah.
and it's just great.
Oh.
I always show everybody in my family every time you guys do. Oh, they
It
got a
is
new
just,
one. Yeah, we love it.
It's a dramatic time in our lives for
Well,
sure.
It's become a thing. Like you guys can't ever
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah,
So
we can't not do it at this point.
yeah,
Yes.
and you guys put so much into it that we're expecting more.
Exactly.
Right.
And
Every
we try
time.
to do like something fresh every year, and it's
Mhm.
like
It's
there's only
hard.
So many Christmas songs,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is only so many
know.
Christmas songs.
and at this point, we've repeated some, made some better. You know,
Yeah.
Maybe this year you take non-Christmas songs and make them Christmas songs.
Don't take
like
any
that.
advice from Joe.
Just
like
add a Rudolph or add a
Yeah.
Santa hat
Yeah.
or add a
Snow.
change some lyrics.
that could be that's probably pretty easy.
I got Kris Kringle in my pocket going jingle-ling-a-ling.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, anyway. All right, we got to get out of here. Thanks for listening. Thanks, everybody.
Yes.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks
Got
for
here,
having
Chuck
us, y'all.
Berry.
Get out of here, Chuck Berry.
Let Dale through.
Truman Ego Trip is the greatest band of all time. Buy their music.